We are back. This is Pardon My Reach with the Mic Check Sessions. And I have the honor, I have the privilege to introduce to you guys my boy, my brother, Hector. It has been way too long that this is needed to happen a long time ago. But again, we're making everything happen now. I think God's timing is perfect, bro. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Man, thank you so much for having me, dude. Man, it's been a long time coming, bro. It's been this is way overdue. I'm super excited and super honored when I got the text from you to be a part of this, man. I was just like kind of like jump back. I was like, wow, like I was just like I thought about everything, like just our relationship and how it's developed over the years, and certain moments that's happened in my life that you have been a pivotal part of me for me. So, dude, I'm so excited, super humbled, and ready to hear and to be a part of this,
Yeah, I
bro.
just looked at our hats, bro, and this is like perfect, right? Because I stayed here and you left me for a little bit, but that's all right, bro.
I sure did.
Man, since Edwin and I started this podcast, him and I, you wouldn't believe it, but him and I spoke plenty of times about having you on. We never knew how to do it, but I was like, man, like if Hector's in town, like that's why every time you were in town, you're like, yo, I'm in Claremont, boy, da, 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 da. And I'm like, yo, and our schedules are so crazy, it could never happen. One of the reasons out of the many that I wanted you on is because of how much I appreciate you. I appreciate what God has done in your life, what God has done through your life. You are the type of friend that I have. I would say the type of brother that I have not really been able to have the opportunity to hang out with a lot. We haven't really had I think we've ministered more together than we have like actually just sat down and broken bread if we want to be super spiritual. Um, but since the moment I remember I met you at Better Life over at Pastor Juan's church, and it was you and Janisha, and you guys were leading worship. And that year, I was actually doing sound for them. I was helping them out for sound. Um, and
Wow.
you guys came in, and I don't think I've ever told you this, but one of the things that I loved about you guys, and it was just about a conversation you and I just had about being genuine, right? And I've had that conversation with so many people when it came to like the worship industry, let's call it, and the worship world. You and Janisha, which is your sister, you guys brought this worship that wasn't show, that wasn't, it has to be perfect. You guys did not come with this ego, because again, like sound guys, man, we tend to see the ugly side when people first walk in. I want this, I want to sound like that. But you guys were so like, hey, what do you need from me? You know what I mean? And can I tell you, Hector, that's one thing that from the moment that I saw that, I was like, yo, these people are the real deal. And then you guys started worshiping in like sound check, dude. And I was like, there's no way. Like you and I've been in church our whole lives, bro. And we've seen the good,
Mm.
we've seen the bad, we've seen the beautiful, we've seen the ugly. And when you guys came in, I was like, there's something special. And then just after that, we had multiple opportunities to minister together. But one thing that I've always loved about you, man, is you always run to God. Like there's not a conversation that I can have with you. There's not a text message that I can send you that glory to God or all thanks to God, or that God doesn't come up in that, bro. Where exactly does that come from for you?
Oh man, I think I would have to say just upbringing, man. I think our parents really instilled in us. It's that it's never about us. It will never be about us. And by God using our ability, number one, is given by
Mhm.
Him, and number two, that wherever we go, we reflect Jesus. And I think that the depiction of who Jesus is somebody who
Yeah.
loves, and everywhere we go, the mission is one thing. It's just one thing: is put Jesus first and have your way. Our father, our mother just being the prayer warriors that they are, the pillars that they are to our lives, always keeping us in check. I think growing up with parents that are of the faith, who are more, man, the relationship we have with our parents is like they're our
Yeah,
friend.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So not only are they our parents, but they're our accountability.
Hmm.
So everywhere we went, if it was an invitation of two people in the gathering, and it was sound check, we would have that moment to permeate the room. We want those two people. If it was just those two people, that they have an encounter with God, and that it may be filled with love.
Yeah.
I think that's the center of it all for us. It's more so, it's not about us. It's something that's been instilled in us for since we were
And I,
kids.
and I would say, bro, that I haven't had the honor yet to meet your parents, but I can tell you that by the way that you two are, I know that they did a phenomenal job because, um, again, man, you guys you guys just have this thing about you, like you walk in the room and like people draw to you. It's like again, we've been able to minister at different times, and in those same periods that we've ministered with you, we've also ministered with other people, and it's just like
Mm,
the way that God uses you guys in worship and in the way that you bring the word, like it's so genuine, it's so beautiful, man, like what you guys can do. And I've always felt like you and I just really drew near to each other because of that. Because being a musician my whole life, like again, I've experienced a lot of the ugly side, like people that I'm up here and
hmm
I almost have to fake the fact that I'm enjoying playing for that person because I just
mm,
saw how they
yeah,
treated people, and I saw how, I remember one time, I won't say any names, dude, but I was doing a sound check for a pretty well known Spanish singer, and I was drumming
hmm
for him. And the way that he spoke to the sound guy, bro, like I genuinely was like, yo, I really don't feel like doing this gig right now. Like after
mm,
service, I went and I apologized to that sound guy, um,
wow,
for this artist, and I was like, dude, why do we have to
incredible.
be like that? But dude, another thing that I could say that I admire about you. We did a youth camp together. I had never experienced um, what we experienced in that youth camp. This was what was this 4 years ago? I think already was it 2019?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a while
Oh no, it
back.
was
Yeah,
more because Lisi was pregnant with Judah,
yeah,
so that was 2018, right? So
yeah.
2018, we have this youth camp. And again, something that you and I've never been able to talk about. And I'm like, I gotta tell this guy. We have breakout sessions. I mean, I think the night before we had gone in like on worship, like we were in there. We didn't go to sleep because everybody knows at these youth camps you don't sleep. That's where we really got
Yeah.
to talking, and we kind of noticed all of the mutual friends we had, and there were some great people around
hmm
us. But man, we did the breakout sessions, and I've been a youth pastor. I've been in youth ministry, of course, my whole life, but I've been a youth pastor now for 7 years. Um, and the way that these kids were opening up because of the session that the Lord allowed you to bring, and of course, all glory to God. But you were the vessel that brought it. You were obedient, and the way that these young men were able to open up, and I would watch you, dude. I'm like, this guy, this guy is something else because these kids were opening up about some real stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll never forget those stories. And
Oh yeah.
and the Lord showed me like this is why you guys were meant to do this camp, right? So some of these kids opened up, and the way that you would love on these kids, the way that first of all that you were transparent, because I mean you were transparent as heck. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? And that was
Sir.
beautiful. But it allowed them to be transparent, and it inspired trust in the young people to open up to me that I wasn't their youth pastor, you that you weren't their youth pastor. And there were some other guys that were with us, but they literally opened up about family issues, about lust issues, about drug issues, and how you loved on those kids, man. I was like, yo, this guy, like how, like now I understand how, but for you what does it mean for you, like when you can love on these kids? Because like you can genuinely see that that to you is like a passion. Like you don't even have to mention it.
Mhm.
Like what did you
Yeah,
need that when you were younger, or did you experience it and you were like, okay, I want to continue to give this? Like where does that come from, dude?
yeah, man. That's my whole life I've been that kid that I loved God, but I was always curious on. I was always curious. I love God with everything that I had, but I was always curious, and I think for me was more so like a turning point in my life was when, like, I think I was 13 and I messed up. I messed up. Literally, I messed up. I was tore up from the floor up, made some bad decisions, and I went to my dad, bro, and I told him. And I think it was we were in the car, and I might get emotional just sharing this,
Do
but
it.
I will never forget I will never forget that moment because my dad, um he showed me Christ,
Mm,
in a moment when I felt like I deserved hell.
wow.
And I carried that with me my whole life. My whole life. And whenever in ministry, I said I will always love people, not for their weakness or for their struggle, not because of you know their talent or ability, but just love them because everybody deserves to be
Yeah,
loved.
yeah, yeah.
And I think ministry, just in general, when our day, our cloth, uh, it was different. It was more so like, people cared about the ability and forgot about the cup.
Wow. Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah, yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Like I think my whole life, oh man, powerful, and all I longed for was leadership and mentorship to love on me.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And me as a leader, given the opportunity to lead, I said I'm going to do that.
wow.
It's more like, yo, it's more than just yo, you ready for sound check? You got the three songs, you got the breakout session topic. No. It's how you doing? How's your heart? I would ask students, I'd be like, it's funny. They'd be like, I would know when a student was in sin.
Yeah,
I would know off
right.
rip, you know. They'll come down and sound check just moping, kind of sluggish. I'm like, and I asked him, I said, I'll be like, hey man, you good? Can I pray for you, dude? And literally, all I would do it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Like let's pick up our cross and keep on moving forward. God's gonna use you,
Jeez.
you know. And I've always, and that's something that I admire about you too, is that we're honest, open, and transparent in everything that we do. So I think that's what how we lead. And in that moment, that's how we led.
That,
So.
and that I've really come to the realization that that's all that God's people need, and that's all that people who don't know God yet need. You know, in our youth ministry, God has really turned some stuff around. I remember a couple of years ago, I had reached out to you about struggling in youth ministry. I'm like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go with this. And your words were, man, just love them. Just love them. And like these are, it sounds pretty on these podcasts. Like, yeah, I just love
Hmm.
people, but like on personal conversations where you could have told me, dude, small groups, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Like that's what I was looking for. And you tell me, you're like,
Hmm.
just love on them, bro. He's like, Mike, you
Yeah.
literally said, Mike, all they need is love. And I was like,
Hmm.
I know that. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. But I didn't get it until recently where, we've had some youth go and youth like literally prodigals come back, right? We've already been able to
Hmm.
kind of see
Hmm.
that cycle. And in that, I've been able to, God has given me that opportunity and my wife that opportunity to just love on them, and they come back with all their stories and this happened and that happened. And I did this and I did that. And I'm like, all right, cool. Welcome home. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And they look at me and they're like, what? And I'm like, cool, welcome. Like, what, what else am I supposed to tell you right now? You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, when I was raised in church my whole life. I think I started in church when I
Hmm.
was 6 or 7 years old, you know,
Hmm.
and being raised in church, I think there's been so many changes from there to here, where it was like everything was hell. Like you go to the movies, you're going
Hmm.
to hell. You do this, you're going to hell. And then like we were kind of like scared as kids because we're like, well, I don't want to offend this God who can come at any point in time and just, the trumpets sound when I'm sleeping. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought about a naked girl, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden I ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? So it was
Yes,
more like
sir.
I'm scared. Then later on, I guess when we grow up, we start kind of learning and this and that, and we're like, nah, everything's not that bad, right? But
Hmm.
I don't know about you, but I had that time where I did step away, and I mean I stepped
Hmm.
away hard. Like I was like either I'm
Hmm.
all in church or I'm all in the world, and I took the world serious. And
Yeah.
because of that, and I asked because when that happened to me, it wasn't necessarily that somebody showed me grace. It was that I was longing for somebody to show me grace. You know what I mean? I was longing for somebody to
Hmm.
just reach out. Like I would pray, literally, like God, just have somebody. Like if
Yeah.
you're real, just have somebody text me, and nobody would. Right. So I kind of
Hmm.
had the other side of God where He's like, well, right now, let's just see, let's just deal with you in a different way.
Yeah.
Um, but that's beautiful, man. That you said, I went to my dad. Like, you had that trust in your father, and you were able to talk, and he's the one that showed you Christ. Like that, bro. That's you it reflects on everything that you do, and every that the person that you are today, right? Because
Hmm.
again, I sit here and I'm like, I have to have Hector on because the value that you bring. um we've texted back and forth since you ended, you were in Orlando, and you were telling me before we started about a transition from Orlando to Atlanta. In that time period, you got married. You beautiful wife, by the way. I'm so happy for you guys. Got a dog. You've gone through all kinds of stuff, man. Um, what would you say is that moment that you're like, God, did you ever you struggle for a little bit, right? It was a tough.
Sir.
So okay, tell us a little bit about just however much you feel comfortable, a little bit about your transition.
Yeah, I think Atlanta, Georgia was a blessing for
Hmm.
me. It was a lot of learning. I think I was sharing with you a little earlier that Georgia was a school for me. And I believe that God's an intentional God. I left a church that I was there for 17 years. I was involved in ministry. I was the top of I'm 30 years old. Uh, I'm just getting started. Going different places. I had a group called Devotion Three. Yes. It was people were like, but why? What is he
Yeah.
doing? Like, and I literally I held on to a word that God spoke over me, and He said to me, "I believe the Lord is gonna open doors for you secularly." And I didn't know how, I didn't know where, I didn't know when, but I'm not educated. I went to school for
Right.
leadership. But I had a passion to communicate with people and to love on people, and I believe that it was going to be able to be correlated to business, you know. And when I saw an opportunity, I took it, and that's when Georgia opened up for me. And bro, Georgia, the first year, I'm sorry, I was there for 2 years and a half. Their first year was the biggest blessing of my life, bro. Like I saw His hand, I saw provision, I saw uh, I saw everything that I was praying for. Crazy. Like my wife she didn't lack anything. She could go and do what she wanted. And I paid off my wedding. Like I was able to do moves. And then the market changed. It was something out of my control.
Yeah.
Interest rates was crazy. Just 2022 came and the season changed. And in that season, I still trusted God,
Yeah.
right? And I said, Lord, I know you didn't bring me here to kill me, but I'm trusting in you. And I didn't feel the releasement to go back home yet, to come back. I didn't feel that because there was a lot of things I still needed to learn. So I was just grinding, bro. I stepped away from the startup business that initially took me to Georgia, bro. I felt this tug of my heart one day. I was in the office, and I was on my desk, and I the night before I told my wife, I said, "Babe, I feel heavy. My spirit feels heavy." And she said, "Well, just pray." And the next day, I gave my 2 weeks, bro. I didn't know how, I didn't know where, I didn't know what I was gonna do, bro. And then I was able to get plugged in with a mortgage loan originator, and I became a mortgage loan originator assistant. So I went from the sales side of buying real estate, flipping houses, to then the mortgage side, to learning about loans and learning about qualifying people for houses. Then I get a call from the buddy that brought me to Atlanta. He said, "Hey, my old boss is looking for a banker that speaks Spanish." I said, "Bro, sign me up." So I went from becoming a sales representative for a real estate investment group, from a mortgage loan originator, learning about mortgages and how getting people approved, to then coming into the platform of becoming a personal banker, helping people deal with their finances and opening up business accounts and opening up accounts for them, getting them approved for credit. And I look at all of that, and I don't think I would have ever, in my wildest dreams, would have been given those opportunities in Florida,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because that just doesn't
Right.
happen. Like the it doesn't happen. Like being referred into a bank with no banking experience, just by personality and grit alone, and a referral. Uh, that's what opened the door
Yeah.
for me. Me be loving on people didn't close the door with bad malice from the startup company, where I still honor that guy. His name was Hector too. Listen, if I'm a product of anything, it's because that guy took the time out to show me the ropes
Right.
and invest in me. You know what I'm saying? And because of him, I'm where I'm at today. And I would have never been where I'm at today if I had not been to Atlanta. So I see the way God moved, and bro, it's insane. Like the dreams and the vision that God has given me now, I have now not only the qualifications, but I have the resume to back it up. So now I come back to Florida, and I'm about to embark on this new journey. And not only do I have the experience, I have the resume. And now people, I can do what I do and operate in this space, and people have to respect me now. I'm not just the guy that worked at Firehouse for 13
Right.
years. I'm not the guy who followed his father, and wherever he went, who didn't really have a job like that. And now, no, I'm a personal banker at Wells Fargo. I was a part of a startup company that generated 1.5 million. I was able to be a part of 65 fix and flips.
Jeez.
Like now I can talk that
Yeah. Yeah.
language. You know what I'm saying? Versus before, I couldn't have talked that language. So Georgia was tough towards the end, but it was the growing pains of a new season.
Mm.
And and I'm very sensitive to that. I don't move until the Lord says it. There were multiple times where I want to thank you. I want to thank you personally, because there were multiple times in my time there where God used you, bro, like in such a tremendous way in my life, where my wife's a witness, bro, where I was in the brink of just feeling like giving up, and the Lord would use you just to send me a text randomly, bro, and the text would be like, "Bro, I love you, man. I believe in you so much. Don't give up."
Jeez.
And those are the words that I needed to
Yeah,
hear, you
yeah.
know, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for your sensitivity to the voice of God, because I believe that the Lord used you in moments where I literally, Mike, I was in a bad place, bro, mentally, like just like frustrated. I felt broken. I felt like weak, you know, and it was those moments of just your words of encouragement that really lifted me up to keep on going and keep on believing, bro, in that tough season.
It's we'll let that sit. Because again, man, it's one of those things where first of all, it's all God, right? And it goes back to when I wanted that person. I've always wondered, like, Lord, I wonder
Yeah.
if somebody heard from you and they just weren't obedient. You know what I mean? And I can't even say that the Lord was like, "Hey, text Hector." It was just like you would come to my mind, man, and I would just text you like, "Yo, what's up, bro?" Literally just to see how you were
Mm,
doing, and it's the importance. And this is why I was telling you earlier why this podcast to me is so important, and why the people that I have on are so important to me, because it's relationships, and I believe that that's how we make it in life, right? And I'm sure that you learned
mm,
that in the
yeah.
investments, and it's about relationships, it's about networking. I don't like using that term in the church world, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But there was something that you
definitely.
said, man, and again, I'm a testament to that, bro. You reached out to me and you were like, "Yo, I'm ready to come back to Florida, Mike." And I was like, "All right, bro." We had a conversation. I was like, "All right, I was gonna make moves. Like, let's bring you on. Let's get you going. Let's get you cleaning pools. Let's get you doing
Yeah.
this, blah blah blah, whatever, dude. Let's
Yes,
get you
sir.
here." One of the words that you text me, I think like either that same day or a day later. I don't remember. You said, "Hey, man, thank you, but it's not time yet." And
Hmm.
I'm like, "All right, bro." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna fight with that. Like, what the heck am I gonna say? But
Yeah.
again, it was one of those things. I said, "Dude, this guy's ready. Like, dude, you're ready to bounce, bro. You're ready to be like, you're like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm dying to go back to Orlando. I want to get out of here, blah, blah, blah." And when you say that it's not time yet, and then while you're talking, the only word that's coming to mind is perspective, right? And you said before we started the podcast, you used this phrase where people say it's a failure. I say it was a school, right? Because we think that, oh, well, if I
Definitely.
got to go back, then I failed. But
Yeah.
what did all that stuff that you learned in the middle? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not even, I wouldn't even say in the
So
middle
good.
because you're not even done yet. Like there's still so much more, that you're gonna do and you have
Definitely.
to do, but just so much that you were able to learn in that season. And I think that a lot of times,
Definitely.
bro, talk to me about this, but we miss out on what God is showing us because we're either so focused on the last season or the season that's to come, and we're missing out on the season that we're in right now. And dude, you just like you literally were able to tell me everything that you learned in that season. You're a different person than you were when you left here. You know what I'm saying? Your
Definitely.
your your vocabulary is different. The way that you walk is different in that season. Because even though you said you had hard times and there were moments where you wanted to give up, you could see the faithfulness of God, and that's like your main line. It's like, man, God is faithful. God is faithful. God is
Sure is.
faithful. What do you do in those moments? Like, all right, you got a text from me and I thank God I was able to be there for you, but there's also personal moments that you either have with your wife, that you have with God. What do you do in those moments? What would you tell somebody who's listening? Listen, man, in that moment, this is what I did. You should try this.
Yeah. In the tough moments, I think what really echoed in my heart, and bro, there'd be moments where I would like cry, like my, I don't know about you, but like my safe haven and my moment of like closet moment with Christ is always in the shower. Like I don't know, that's like my temple.
Yeah, yeah.
I would put just, and I remember crying, bro, just like weeping, bro, like God, you said this, like you're not a man that you should lie, you know, and but I don't see it.
Wow.
I don't even feel it. Like, like there was moments where like we didn't know, like we got to a point where we were like, how are we even gonna pay this? Like, like how are we gonna pay this? Like, where's this gonna come from, bro? And it's funny because my wife is very she's structured.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm more like I'm more like, yo, I'll figure it out.
yeah,
But she's more so like, no, baby, how are you gonna figure it out?
yeah,
Like she's very systematic. I'm very like
yeah,
sporadic.
yeah, yeah.
Like, I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I'll hustle. I'll go out there and I'll get something.
I got
We'll
this.
work it out. Yeah, I got
Yeah,
this. Literally, words that I would say. Words that I would say. I got this. Don't worry about it. Nah, well, we'll figure it out. I trust God. He hasn't failed us yet.
right.
And I think what has helped me in those moments is that, like you said, He's faithful. And I'm bro. I'm a child of a king, bro. Like bro. I'm a child of a king, man. Like, and when my perspective changed was like, listen, if He's always on time, even though when we feel like, man, God, this was a close one, bro. like,
So you could have come a little
like
sooner.
he could have came a little sooner, man. Like, like, but He's always on time,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
yeah,
I in those moments, like all I can say that kept me with the faith was like, God, you're faithful. And even if I don't know where the means is coming from, or like how this is gonna happen, you're the God of the storm.
yeah,
You're my floaty in the middle of the
yeah,
ocean.
yeah, yeah.
Like, and though that floaty feels very small and tight, but it's enough to keep me going through
Right.
the waves. It's still gonna keep me up. I might swallow a little bit of water, and I might go under for a couple seconds, but I'm grateful for that little floaty because it's gonna pop me back up just at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So those who are going through a tough time, all I can say, be encouraged, man. God has His hand over you, and even though it might feel tough, and even though it might feel like there's no solution, man, trust and believe He's a God of on time.
Yeah.
That's always on time.
You mentioned something, bro, and it's God is on time, right? One and I've told my wife about this. I was like, one thing that I love about you guys is that sense of God's timing, and you can feel so much peace on people who truly trust in God's timing, right? Um, like you said earlier, you had your group DV3, um, and man, like you guys had it, like you guys sounded good, you guys were recording, like again, we had brought you guys in, and I'm like, yo, this is it, you know what I'm saying? Then like you and Janisha had your thing going, and I'm like, I'm just sitting back like, yo, I'm waiting for this boom, like this is about to go crazy, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Um, yeah.
and again, what a lot of people would see as failure, because, oh, well, Hector's not doing that anymore. Well, Hector's not doing this. Well, Hector's not doing that. You've literally learned how to sit back and just wait on God's timing. On God's timing, like we had done an event at the church with you guys, and it was a worship conference, and then you were just like, it's just not time, And I'm like, yo, where's the video? Where's this? Where's that? Where's that? It's like you're that sensitivity to the Holy Spirit. There must have been something in your life that you were probably like, yo, I did that too soon and I learned from it. Or where does that come from for
Mm.
you, that you're so key on the timing of God?
Man, that's a good question. I think I was raised to never force anything, bro. Like literally, like I think a lot of times society pushes us to be stars and to be moguls and to be and there's nothing wrong with
Right.
that. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's and but I believe that if it's of God and if it's gonna last, it's I don't want to be overnight a success. Like I don't want to be a one hit wonder. You know, I want to be somebody that people can say, "Wow, his ministry brings testimony."
Mm,
You know, his and her ministry, my sister's ministry, it brings their substance. You know, it's not just like no, we put in not only we put in the time, but we trust in the timing of God. There's songs that we're sitting on that we haven't released. There's music that there's stories that we were sitting on that we haven't released. You know, on both sides, on DV3
yeah,
side
yeah,
and
yeah,
on the worship side. You know, and it's more so like God, like we're trusting in you. Now coming into this season, I'll tell you, we feel the peace of like, no, like it's go time, like no more.
yeah,
But we feel that backing of like, when somebody's like kind of pushing you,
yeah,
like, and this it's with love, and it's like, all right, let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah,
We feel that sense of urgency of like, okay, God, connect us to the right people, connect us to the right opportunity, connect us to the right resource, and I think that's key. You see people who've been doing it, for a week, they blow up on social media, TikTok, they it's but that's it.
yeah,
I see. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just timing is key. It's in everything. Even when we were moving from Georgia to here, you text me. I text you. You had to, bro. I had the opportunity. I had the job. You were gonna. I was gonna
yeah,
work with you. All I had to do was figure it out how I was gonna. I had my in-laws here. I could have moved. I could have just stayed with them for a couple of
yeah, yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
So I got on my feet. But being sensitive. Look at this. Waiting and saying, no, not right now, Mike, it's not time, allowed me to come back to a home, bro. I live in an amazing neighborhood, bro. The resources were put in place to be able to come without a sweat. Um, in the perfect timing of God, there's no I like I don't know how to explain this. There's no I don't even know how to say. I'm thinking it in
Yeah,
Spanish,
yeah.
but I
There's
don't even
no
know why I'm thinking this.
no te sientas agitado. It's like there's not a lot of it's not
Agitado.
agitated.
There's exactly. It's not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
agitated. It's more so just free flowing, and
Right.
and 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 that's how I knew it was the
Yeah.
time when I made that phone call. s- Okay, just to go back, I was sitting on a job opportunity here in Florida. I tried 6 months ago, Mike, to come down with the company that I work with, right? Dude, the door closed. When I tell you it closed, but when it closed horrifically. Like it was
Nasty.
bad. Like I was like, oh my, it was nasty. I was like, oh my god, I'm never going back. I might even get fired from this job. Like. But then 6 months later, I saw an opportunity here in Claremont, bro, and I sat on it, Mike. I sat on it for 2 months, bro. The job posting was up for 2 months. And literally I was like, babe, I don't know, I don't feel it. It's not time, da da da. And then all of a sudden I felt like this like push, like, yo, heck, what you got to lose? My wife told me, babe, you got nothing to lose. Just try again. Bro, I tried Monday. I applied. Tuesday, I met with the recruiter. Wednesday, I met with the manager. Thursday, I had a job offer already. They gave me 3 weeks, bro. I didn't have no house. I didn't have anything. All I knew is that I had a job here in Claremont and I needed to find a way to get home.
That's
That's it.
crazy.
That's the timing of God. And He put everything in order. The way to, because not only did I move, my family
Yeah.
moved. So my parents, my sister, everybody came back. So everything for all of us just kind of pieces just started. My wife got paid double out of nowhere. My sister got a bonus.
Get
Like
out.
I'm talking about like insane, stupid
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so timing is key, bro. It's key, and when it's of God, it's of God, and no man can deny it.
I had jeez. He said we got paid double, people getting bonuses.
Just for no reason. Like you're like, what?
God is like, let me make sure that you know that that one was a no, but let me make sure you know that this one was a
Exact.
yes.
This was a
Yes,
yes.
dude. I
Exactly.
had this
Yeah.
person a while ago. Um, I like to agitate things sometimes. Like when I hear people say nonsense, I like to kind of like, all right, dude, where you coming from? I want to hear this. And
Yeah.
bro, they were preaching to me hard, dude, about God, like the two wills of God, right? And it was, that theology. There's the permissible one, and then there's the perfect will,
Mm,
right? And as I'm listening to this, I'm like, none of this makes sense to me because I'm like, you're telling me that God has A, option B, like what is this, right?
mhm.
And my wife, like being married to my wife, Lisi has shout out to my wife, dude, and shout out to Josh. She's thank God for her
Shout out to my wife,
life.
bro.
Thank God for our wives, dude.
For real. For
Lisi
real.
has literally taught me how to slow down, how to do things in the right time. Because honestly, bro, I'm not that dude. I'm just like you. I'm like I'll make it work. I'll make it happen. I don't care. All right, it costs too much. That's fine. I'll
Yeah.
pick up more pools. Like Lisi's like, babe, calm
Yeah.
down, relax, chill, blah blah blah. But I'm very sporadic, and I'm the type of guy that I get upset and I leave. I'm just that's who I was. That's how I first left ministry. I didn't get a chance to deal with certain things. I got upset. I was at the barbershop. It was slow that day, and I'm like, I'm out, and I left. You know what I'm saying? Like people will get too close to me, and I'm like, nope, I don't need you that close. I'm out. Like that was just my thing, bro. I was out. I was out. I was out. um, but as you mature, right? As you grow, you start when you make the right decisions, you start feeling the peace that you can get just by living in the will of God, by living in the timing. And you're like, ooh, that one feels good. That one over there didn't feel so good. This one feels good. Like I feel good here, right? And they were talking to me about that, bro, the permissible, and then the perfect will. And then I saw on Facebook there was this post and it was like the person has I forgot who it was, but they said my theology has just been blown out of the window or whatever. Pastor just said anything other than the perfect will of God is rebellion.
Uh,
Bro, that to me was like whoosh, whoosh. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
anything outside of the perfect will of God is rebellion. You know what I mean? And
So good.
and watching and being even from a distance just being a part of that of just hey I'm ready to come home, no it's not time, because I believe that you have written to me about 6 months ago where you're like yo man if you find a house let me know blah 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 blah, blah, blah. So I'm like yo
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
dope, you know and again it's I think that a lot of people fear because sometimes we can speak out of turn, right? Sometimes we can
Hmm.
feel something out of emotion and we're like, yo, yes, let's do it. I'm ready. This is it. This is God. I want people to understand that not every feeling is God, right? And I think
Hmm.
that we've been confusing, oh, I feel the Holy Spirit is telling me this, or I feel this. But when you know that it's God, like there's no
Oh yeah.
feeling. Like it's like I know that this is God, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes I think people fear the sense of, you know what, maybe I didn't hear that right. And we try to
Hmm.
push it
Hmm.
anyways. And we try to go
Yeah.
for it anyways. And then when it doesn't work
Yeah.
out, we want to get upset with God or we want to sit here and blame the devil for something that he didn't even do. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
that,
right.
let me not get upset at Christian folks right now. But there's nothing that drives me more insane than somebody blaming something on the devil or rebuking something on the devil that was purely your decision.
Yeah.
You know what I
Definitely.
mean? But when I hear you speak about that, it makes me look back at all the times that maybe I heard wrong, but I was too
Yeah.
prideful to say, no, it's not time.
Yeah.
That humility, bro, that you just this is my word lately, but you just operate in it. Like you just spew out
Yeah.
humility. Like if you're wrong, you're like, yo, I was wrong. Again, going back to the camp, like you were so I I was taught when I first became a youth pastor when I was 18, like you're not allowed to be that transparent. Like you're going to
Yeah.
confuse people. And while I understand
Yeah.
where that comes from, you know it stuck with me until that camp where I heard you just like, bro, you put yourself out there, bro. You know what I mean? And I was
Yeah.
like, how did this guy like,
Yeah.
I'll tell people about my lust issue, but I won't go into detail at that time. You know what I mean? About what I was doing with my
Yeah.
lust issue. Right. I'll be like, yeah, I
Yeah.
struggled with lust, but I think everybody can do that. Everybody could be like, yeah, I struggled with
Of
this
course.
big spectrum that everybody struggles with and everybody deals with. But
Yeah.
that humility, dude, just spews out of you, and I believe that that's why God blesses you guys so much, and I believe that that's
Amen.
what translates and transmits from the stage when you guys are up there, and even just in these type of conversations, man. Um, you That's why I've always felt the need to tell you, like, I believe in you, right? Because I've seen, and you can speak to this maybe a little more, but I've seen how people like you guys can be taken advantage of so many times, you know. And
Hmm.
I don't like to say I'm talented, but we're musicians and we do all these things. And I've seen how people will see you for the musician, or will see you for the worship leader, will see you for the preacher, and not see you for who you really are. Like I remember
Hmm.
TD Jake saying that he was like, those are everything that I do, but that's not who I am. He's like
So
those are my
good.
titles, but that's not who I am, right?
Yeah.
When Because I'm sure you've been taken advantage of, and I'm not trying to get into like that type of
Of
conversation,
course.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when that happens, I know that we always have our eyes set on Jesus and we always have our eyes set on God, but there's
Hmm.
also humanity inside of us
Of
where
course.
we look at this and we're like, yo, I just don't want to keep going anymore. In that moment where you're like, yo, I don't think I could do this anymore. What exactly ran through your mind where you're like, was it an anger towards God? Was it an anger towards
Mhm.
people? Like what ran through your mind at that point?
Man, you know, that's that's uh that's tough. I think I said it earlier. I think a lot of people, especially in I hate to say this, but the church has forgotten the importance of mentorship, discipleship, uh like walking hand by hand,
Yeah.
with somebody like who worships like my sister and I, or like you, who is an amazing musician. Sometimes we can be on, like our switch is on. Okay, we're gonna give, and we're gonna give, and we're gonna give, and we're gonna give, and we're gonna give. Even if nobody shows up, we're gonna give. Even if they're late for sound check, we're gonna give. Uh, um, even if rundown wasn't done, and we're gonna give. Even if at the moment, the drummer didn't show up, we'll figure it out. We're gonna give. And it comes to a point where, like, you're there, but you're not there anymore. And there's been multiple times in my life where I was serving, and I longed for, man, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this no more. I just want to I want my cup to run over again. Like, because you give and give, and
Yeah.
your spirit is like, but what about me? Like, and granted, you're anointed, you walk in the anointing, you're called, you walk in the calling. Yeah, you do your devotions. Yeah, you seek his face. But but there comes to a point where it's like, I need my leader to invest in me, and to walk near with me, to see me.
Yeah.
Being at the church, and it was great. I've learned a lot. Um, but there was seasons in my life where I had questions like, "What about me?"
Yeah.
Like, we worry about everything. We worry, "What about me?" bro, I'm there day in and day out, like, and it's like you feel like that, yo, you're abusing. This is at this point, it's an abuse. It's like, you don't even check up. It's just, we're gonna be there. It's gonna get done, and that's it. You know, it's just I always I'm right now I'm in a season of just I've been visiting churches, like I just moved to the area and stuff like that, and I'm looking for somewhere to be rooted. And I told God I want to be rooted in a place where the leadership, like you can see me, like it's more than just my voice. It's more than worship.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
want
yeah,
to. It's more than me preaching. It's more than that. I want to be able to share my dreams, and I want to be able to share my heart. And I have the pastor for the first time say, "Let me help you get there."
yeah,
Bro, like it's like I've never been a part of let me help you get there, or like let me connect you to this person that I know, or let me help you.
yeah,
It's more so let's plug you in. Let's you know oh yeah, yeah, I heard this about let's get you to do this. But it's more I don't rather I rather do nothing than and be invested in, and just sit down and receive.
yeah.
It's crazy. I'm in a different space now. I just want to. I love God. I just want to be in the number one. I want to be in the will of God. Number two, I just want to love on Him. And number three, I want to be in a place where be invested in, and not only for my talent, because I'm more than that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I'm at. I guess now in this season of life,
So you are
of being hurt.
you are worth more than that, and I think that um, coming from somebody who's felt that same way, I thank God for the church that I'm in. This isn't a plug, I would never do that, but this isn't a plug for you to come to my church. This is just I thank God for my leadership, and because they've done that as well. I just had the episode before with my pastor, with my friend, with and we've had
Yeah,
those
definitely.
we've had those moments where it's like, all right, man, let's help you get there, you know. Um, and I think the church we've missed the mark a lot of times um, on on the people who are inside the church, right? I
Hmm.
think that when when I look at ministry, we can either tip the balance one way or the other way. Either we're too
Hmm.
focused on self help, and I gotta be at least 100% perfect just so that I could minister. But then I also think that we tip the balance on the other side, where we say, "Oh well, Hector's good; he's still here singing, so we don't really got to
Yeah.
worry about him right now." And
Hmm.
we've missed the mark, I believe, on people who need Jesus, and then on people who have Jesus. We
So good.
you know what I'm
That's
saying?
so
Like
good.
we it's almost like, okay, you're saved. I don't have anything else to do with you anymore. Right, but that's the
Yeah.
great commission is what? It's go out and preach the gospel, but then also make disciples. The only way you make disciples is dealing with the people who already came to Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like Jesus,
Hmm.
when we look at his ministry, this man walked with them for 3 years. He opened himself up. He was transparent
Love
with a
that.
couple of them. He was, hey, listen, this is what I need for you to do, right? And I think
So
because we
good.
live in such a microwave society where everything has to be quick, everything has to move
Hmm.
fast, and we don't let people come to the church and just say, okay, yeah, I know you sing, but you know what? Take a couple of months off, sit down, figure out, hey,
Hmm.
is this the spot you really want to be in? Do you align with this
Hmm.
vision? Are you good? You know what I mean? Because sometimes, not for anything, man, like you're charismatic, again, and it sounds bad, but let's just be, again, the Mike Todd and the the humble, open, and transparent, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
know how to play church. You know what I'm
Love it.
saying? We can grab a microphone, and I know what to say to move a crowd. I know what keys to play to move a crowd. I know what
Yes,
minor
sir.
to hit here and there, and I know what songs to sing in the middle of a worship moment. and it gets to the point to where it's all like bringing everything back together. It's that timing of God. It's what does God want in this moment? What does God want me to do in this moment? And as I talk to
Love that.
worship leaders, as I talk to youth pastors, God has opened doors for us to minister on the background. I don't have to be posting and talking about it all the time, but
Mhm.
where I could say, hey, like what is the motive behind it? Let's not do what everybody wants to hear. Let's not, yeah, I would love for you to be next to me all the time, singing, and let's worship together all the time. But de que me vale? What is it worth you singing and you
Mm,
moving a crowd if on the inside you're empty? You know what I'm saying? What is it worth having this person with so much
so good.
talent when 3 years down the
Mhm.
road they're going to burn out and not want anything to do with church again?
Love that.
Because we're not investing in our people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I love it
Mhm.
because you're somebody who can invest even when you feel like you don't have it anymore.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've been taught to be faithful to the church even when we don't have it anymore. I think there was an event that you came to, and if I'm not mistaken, either from that event you were going to a night watch or something, or you were going to a lock-in. But like you and your
Mhm.
sister came and you guys sang at at this event, and from there, like y'all were like, "All right, man, we got to go. 'Cause we're going to like a youth lock-in or something like that." And I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Dude, these people are freaking wild." Like, how do you go from worshiping here? Like literally, for me, my endurance is not that high, bro. I'm like, I'm like, yo, I worship. I'm tired, but I'm going home.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
lock-in, bro. Um, and I applaud you for that, bro, because your faithfulness, man, your faithfulness to God, your faithfulness to your leadership, that doesn't go unnoticed ever. You know what I mean? And I pray, and I'm gonna join you in that prayer, man, that you find the right place because it's so crucial for you guys. And I'm happy that we were able to get this just little bit of time, just to talk. And I know that there's so much more that we can say, and so much, so many deeper things that we can get into. Um, if you're cool with it, um, I know your wife has gone through or is currently going through a pretty tough process right now. Um, First of all, if you're cool with it, how is she?
Yeah. My wife is doing good, man.
Good.
She's so my wife, just to kind of touch base a little bit on that. My wife has been battling cancer since the age of 23. Yeah, she was diagnosed with leukemia, and uh, I met her when I was 23. She was, I think, 24, and I knew, she was battling with cancer, and we've been in that process. I've been learning. I didn't understand it at first.
Mm,
I for those who don't know, I met my wife uh, through social media. I saw her. My wife's she preaches. She does spoken word. She sings. She's a worship leader, and she's a rock star, man. My
just a
wife's a
house of
rock star.
creatives.
I
I
love her
hate you
so
guys.
much. She's awesome. And I saw her in a video. I DM'd her. I said, "Hey, I know you don't know me, uh, but I saw a word that you gave, and I just want to say that ministered to me, and I would love to get to know you." And that was it, bro. We just kind of like hit it off from there. Uh, 12 days into that, uh, we kind of knew. It was crazy, bro. It
Wow.
was like it was nuts. Our conversations, the stuff that we were talking about. She said, "I love you" first. I always hold that over her.
We're gonna have to bring her on and see if that's true or not.
Yeah, 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 definitely, definitely. I would love it. I love it. And but it was a process, bro.
Yeah.
We were 5 years, bro. 5 years on and off, bro. And it was like I was a kid. I was a kid. I was a chump, bro. Our 5 years were for me. God was dealing with me. Like I was I was not the best relationship person with her. I was always indecisive. I had a lot of questions. A lot of, sometimes the cancer, it would have a toll on me. I said, I can't do this no more. Um, but she was my best friend.
Wow.
Like me and her, we would talk for hours, and it feel like minutes, And she knew everything about me, and that was something that I had to learn, bro. How to understand her condition, and then we broke up for a year, bro. Whole year, I got with another girl, and it was the worst decision of my life, bro. And that other girl uh, put me in a place of insecurity,
Oh wow.
depression. I never dealt with any of that, bro. And I would tell this girl my dreams, the one the one I was with, and she would shoot me down, bro. She'd be like, "You're crazy. You're never gonna get there.
Get out.
You don't have the capability of doing that." And I remember just remembering the conversations I had with my wife at that time. My ex girlfriend. I can't believe my wife was my ex girlfriend. And remembering her always encouraging me, bro,
Wow.
and always speaking life over me, and always telling me, "I believe in you," and always telling me, "No, you can do it, Hector. Like anything you put your mind to." And I remember when I broke up with that girl, I think it was a New Year's or something, or I saw her at an event from our church, and I I had to use my music page to message her because she blocked me from everything. And I said, "Hey, I just want to take a moment to apologize. Can I have a moment? Can I call you?" And bro, I said sorry. I'm not even expecting anything from happening, to that with that. But my wife is my best friend. My wife is a pillar in my life. She makes me better in every way, bro. In every way, my wife makes me better. Like you said, I'm sporadic. She's organized.
Yeah. Yeah.
She fuels my dreams. And even through her when we got married, she was cancer free for the first, I think it was 6 months, 6 7 months, and then it came back. You know, so in those seasons, I've learned how to I've learned how to be a support. I've learned how to love unconditionally. Uh, I look at her because she takes chemo pills. I look at them as vitamins now. Like, like, did you take your pills today? You know, and but I'm just encouraging her. I love
Yeah.
her. And no matter what, and her condition, we're believing in God for His continual healing. Right now, we're grateful for the doctors because my wife would not be alive if it had not been for doctors. She's on the right medication. Her numbers are great. She's below the 1% mark, which is awesome. We need to keep it there. Um, but we're trusting God. We believe in continual healing. I know that sometimes we want this like healing overnight, but my wife's journey is different. I believe my wife's story is going to bless millions of people. I believe that God is going to use you in a tremendous way, and the sky's the limit for her in this journey that she's going on. I see books. I see. The sky's the limit.
Yeah.
I'm dream big for her, and I know that His hand is over her life, bro. She's so special, man, and I can't wait for you to meet her and have her, do her thing. She's awesome.
I'm so mad that we haven't met yet. I think
I
we've written to each
know.
other a couple times, on
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Instagram and stuff. And I'm
That's
that
funny,
guy,
right?
like when I found everything out,
Yeah,
when it came back, I'm that guy that like
yeah,
instantly wrote to her. You know what I'm saying? I think I told her like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
I don't think you know me, but I'm like, I'm Hector's boy. Like I'm praying for you, love
yeah,
you.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah,
standing with you. Um,
yeah,
and again, just knowing who you are just shows who she is. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
that's just for me. She's already a sister over on this side, and we believe in you guys. I'll tell you personally. I'll tell you on the camera. I'll tell you whenever. We believe in you guys and we love you guys. I told I'll tell our listeners and our viewers. I told Hector the reason why I wanted him on is because of how much I appreciate our friendship. The same way that I thank you because you came to one of our youth services a couple months back, and honestly, you came to love on me and thank me. And I said, and I thought, well, I never got the opportunity to thank you because
Mm,
that was one of the youth services where I felt like a failure.
wow.
You know,
Mm,
youth ministry is it's a hard ministry. You know,
it's tough.
um, I like to pride ourselves on the fact that we've been in it for 7 years with the same group. I look at statistics
Uh,
and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Um, it's a
yeah.
hard ministry, man. And you came in and there's times where I believe we can feel inadequate. I believe that we can feel like you said, like I give and I give and I give. And sometimes in youth ministry, you don't really see until just the other day that the Lord showed me through scripture, that all youth are just strictly seeds. And I think going back to what I was saying earlier is that we want to see so much growth in people. We want to see things happen so quickly. And what
Yeah.
what children and youth are like, they're literally just seeds that we're just planting in the ground. And you came
Yeah.
in and you hugged me, and just with that intensity that you hugged me, I had to hug you back because when you were there, for the enemy, this mind, this thing that we deal with, I was like, he's here, and I feel like this is one of the worst deliveries that I've ever had on a message,
No.
right? Um, because for that time period, bro, I don't think I've told anybody other than my wife recently. I was struggling, man. I was
Yeah.
struggling with a battle in my mind. I've struggled before, but never that hard because now it was
Mm,
like I'm struggling dealing with employees. I'm struggling dealing with trying to be a father, with trying to be a pastor, with trying to be a husband. And
mm,
it was like everything just came in and was like, bomb, this is, you got to deal with all these people. You got to make sure all these people are okay. And I
hmm
would, it took me 7 years, well, 6.5 years to learn how to lean on my wife rather than just always be the strong man for her. Right.
hmm hmm
She would always tell me, she gets mad at me. She's like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm good. I'm Superman. And it's because that's just,
hmm
as men, that's just how we feel that we have to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
I've never been that emotional guy until recently. Recently I just started crying. I didn't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Um,
I'm the biggest crybaby you've ever known.
bro, and there's, initially I'm like, man, this guy cries. Like he's a crier. No judgment, but I'm like, this guy's a crier. And to me, I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm not a crier. Now I'm talking about my kids and just start crying. But
Yeah.
you came in, man, at this time, and then of course, like a couple months later, we had our youth conference, right? And what a blessing that youth conference was. Um, Testimonies came out of that. It was one of those moments where you just know, like, yo, God did something. Like it wasn't just a normal
So
thing.
good.
Right after that, bro, I had the biggest struggle, like the biggest
Wow.
battle in my mind. I sat
Wow.
in my closet for the first time in my life. My wife walks in. I'm on the floor, bro, just bawling like a baby. I mean, I'm
Wow.
I'm tense. I'm crying. I don't know what to do with my life. And I think after that, you and I we were just texting, man. And you just
Mm,
always, Mike, thanks, man. Love you, bro. You're always there at the right time, blah, blah. And it's not to be like, oh, because I didn't know. Like your words as well were like pivotal at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like
wow.
between my wife sitting on the floor with me, and then maybe I think it was like a couple days later, dude. We spoke and we talked, and I'm like, the timing of God,
Yeah.
the timing of God. I don't believe that we met out of coincidence. I don't believe that the times that we ministered together were just because we were the only ones available. I believe that God
Mm,
establishes relationships, and I believe that God puts things together for moments like this, so that you don't give up, so that I don't give up. Um,
amen.
and I'm so blessed and humbled. man, that you would jump on this podcast with me. I know there, like we were just saying, I'm not a structured guy. You're like, yo, questions this, and I'm like, listen, man, old Pentecostal, we're gonna flow. We're gonna flow in the Holy Spirit. But this is really what we look for, man, is just to have genuine conversation um and normalize, like I said in the last podcast, normalized loving on each other, normalize giving
Love
each
that.
other flowers. And again, bro, I never stopped praying for you, but I'll tell you in front of everybody, I'm going to continue praying for you.
Amen.
Continue praying for your wife, man. I'm excited to see what God has for you guys. I'm excited to see what God is going to
Amen.
continue to do in you guys and through you guys. um I'm not a prophet, so I don't know what it is, but what I do know is the God that we serve, and it's something amazing, because that's all he does, brother.
Amen.
And again, dude, I love you. I love you so much.
Dude, I love you, bro. Thank you for always being available. Thank you for no judgment zone, bro. I know that I can come to you with anything and anything, and I'm grateful and honored to have you in my life. And I know that you weren't put in my life for a coincidence. Out of all places, I'm in Claremont, bro.
For real.
Who who would have thought we're so close now? And I know that the sky's the limit, and I know that God is stirring something up, and I believe it. I believe that I'm here to help in any way, shape, or form that I can, and I'm super excited for what's to come, dude. And I know you play a part in it. So I love you, man. Thank you for having me on here, dude.
We're gonna have another session with your brother, because I know that there's a lot more that we can talk about. This is just
Yes, sir.
breaking the ice. So again, want to thank you guys for listening to the Part of My Reach podcast, the mic check sessions with Hector. Thank you, man. Love you. Now that we're on YouTube, I'm gonna invite you guys to like, comment, subscribe, share, press the little button there. I don't know. I'm new to YouTube,
Yes,
so
yes.
we do whatever you're
The
supposed
bell,
to
the
do. The
bell.
bell. Thank you. Do whatever the heck you're supposed to do on all of this. If you feel that this content, man, or this conversation can bless somebody, share that with that person. Let us know what you think. Let us know if there's something that you like that we said, something that you didn't like that we said. I'll take it all. We'll listen to it. We'll hear. We'll read the comments. Um, until next time, this is Part of My Reach. Hector, love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.